Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Food Plot Chronicles. I just want to send a shout out to Mother Nature. Thank you for bringing your A game this year. Planting food plots has a lot of variables to it, and some of those variables are out of your control, like the weather. This year we had a drought early, but ever since May turned to June, we've had a little bit of rain, and then a little bit of sun, and a little bit of rain, and a little bit of sun. It has actually worked out perfectly for growing our food plots. Now there's a couple spots that Dean's not too thrilled about, but the good news is we know what we did wrong. Better news is we're here to tell you so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did. This week, Dad and Uncle Jay are up at camp having a little fun. We're gonna be checking in and doing a little update on each one of our food plots, and we're gonna be showing you a little bit of the food plot maintenance that we gotta do during the middle of the summer. Dino, you ready? So you can do whatever you want.
I can do whatever I want. He said, did you hear that? The land manager said I, Uncle Jay, can do whatever I want. That is documented.
TAGNBRAG Nation, July 19th here. Crazy how fast the summer is going. We're gonna do a food plot update for you today for Food Plot Chronicles. Got a few things in store for you that we are doing to keep up with our summer or spring and summer food plots, and we're starting to prep stuff for fall here. But in the meantime, there's a lot of other work to be done at camp that you can't put to the wayside, because then it gets gets you in too deep. So right now we're completely out of wood. We burned through all our wood last fall and winter for camp, so Uncle Jay and I are doing the chores this morning while it was a little bit cooler. It's already getting super hot here, but we got a pile of wood that we're cutting up here across the road. We have from when we logged a couple years ago. We had a bunch of pole logs brought out, you know, close to the road, but they've been seasoning for 2 years now. So these things are gonna burn like kindling. But piling it up here, Uncle Jay's on the saw. I'm just bringing loads back and forth. We're gonna get a nice pile going. Yeah, at least to get us by for a little bit, and then we'll cut more as needed. But we'll double that thing up, and then we'll give you the food plot update. All right, you can see all the weeds coming up in this field. There's a bunch of grass. I don't even know what that is out there, but there's just bushels of that. You can see it all the way in the back, whatever kind of broadleaf weed that is, but it needs to be sprayed bad, so we'll hit it with a hard dose now. The sun will bake on it. Sun will bake tomorrow, so we should get a good kill off on it. But what I do is I unhook the fence, and I'll actually just drop it all to the ground, at least on this side, so I can drive through it. I'll do my couple 2-3 passes in here. I don't know how much more I'm going to need to do with how wide this thing sprays, and then I'll get out of here and retie it back up. So see how this goes. Field number 1 is done. Only got one more to do, and then I'm going to spot spray some corn, but we put down the pre-emergent for that, so we're looking pretty good. These beans are all sprayed. Definitely got a lot better coverage with this new sprayer, so that's kind of cool. It was worth the purchase, I think. See how it shapes up in a week or two. All right, so I'm heading up to this bean and cornfield. I'm gonna put some hand spread, some nitrogen down on this field. It's not a ton of corn, it's only about an acre, so my dad's up here right now gonna help me spread it. It'll only take 15-20 minutes, not even, with 2 of us. And but I sent him up early for a little gopher hunt, and I just heard a shot. That's a big son of a gun.
Oh my gosh, it's gotta be 30 pounds.
That thing is huge. Holy smokes.
He's eating a lot of beans.
That's one of the bigger ones I've ever seen.
Yeah, shot the poor bastards right in the back. And the other way, I'm like, sorry.
He came out down there?
I shot him probably
Holy shit, that thing is huge.
5 feet from his hole.
All right, so this isn't the most efficient way to do this, but the way I have the beans tucked into the corn right here, it's really hard to, I'll just run over a ton of the corn if I get the tractor in here with the broadcast spreader, so it's not a huge deal. I just fill up my cedar bags. I can put like 25 pounds of nitrogen in this baby, load it up with the 4600 and give the corn a nice feeding. I'm kind of taking a chance right here. We got about a 60% chance of rain overnight, so I'm taking it, rolling the dice. It didn't work twice this year, but we're gonna roll them again. But this is right at the perfect time where we need a shot of nitrogen. It'll really lift this corn that's really thin. This is the thinnest spot. It looks better up on the top of the field, but trying to give the corn that's growing everything we've got. Give it a little nitrogen feeding. All right, so just got this fertilized, the corn, put some nitrogen down. Got this little battery powered sprayer. It's cool, you can see how this pre-emergent worked. Look at this stripe. Everything around that, around the dirt, is what I did not hit with the pre-emergent. But I did plant some corn out a little bit farther from where I did that, so I'm gonna take this backpack sprayer and I'm just gonna hit a couple of the spots that I missed with the pre-emergent, just to keep the weeds down. And I mean, in these spots like this, where the corn is thin and there was weeds growing up, I'll be able to broadcast turnips in there to add a little food supplement where the corn is not very thick. So I like doing this at the same time. You don't want to fertilize your field and then spray the weeds a week later or anything like that. Then your weeds are going to end up eating up a lot of your fertilizer. So it's good to do it at the same time. The weeds will start dying. The corn starts eating the fertilizer up. It should be a perfect combination. We got a 65% chance of rain tonight. So it should push this fertilizer down to the ground real good. We should give it a good boost. All right, we got an update on our first, one of our most important fields. We've never grown successful corn up on this strip right here where our blind is. It kind of goes up along the road. That creates a barrier from the road. It gives us a lot more cover up here where we lose a lot of it when the snow hits. So we killed 2 birds with 1 stone here. We got cover that's not going to fall over in the wintertime, and then we got a lot of food coming up in here. There's gravelly spots down here where we can really just never grow anything, but this stuff looks really, really good. We just put some nitrogen down about a week ago. Rain hit and it's taken off very, very well, so I'm excited to see what that does. We got our beans growing right here, and we came in, sprayed this down. Spraying any spring crop is so important. I'm going to show you a couple spots where weeds are growing, how much worse the crop is, because those weeds are just competing. They're taking fertilizer, they're eating the good stuff that the beans and stuff need. And you can see planted beans outside the fence. There's literally nothing out here. Look at this. Actually, I don't know if we had a groundhog or deer that got through, and you can see it blended out into the field a little bit where everything's getting browsed on. But the beans are trying to come up. They're just getting heavily browsed outside the fence, and that just shows you how well these fences actually work. When you have small plots of beans like this, you almost have to have it, otherwise don't even bother growing beans unless you got a high, forage, fast growing bean. So I'm actually gonna come through right now like I did to the corn. I'm gonna put some nitrogen on the beans. You don't need to do this, most people don't, but nitrogen usually makes anything grow. And there's a couple light spots where something got in. It might have been a groundhog, because it looks like these beans are trying to recover a little bit. In the middle, everything looks pretty good, but I'm really gonna try to make these beans shoot up here in the next few days. Especially we're gonna get a rain tomorrow, so perfect time to put some nitrogen down. The other thing, I kind of Googled this. Have comments if you have any, make some comments if you have any suggestions here. But if you look, some of our lower leaves, I notice, they get yellow when they sprout, and then the top of the plant will be green, but you can just see some yellow on the bottom. And what I've read is that that's a nitrogen deficiency. And I know, like I said, beans create their own nitrogen, but there's obviously just not enough. There's not enough here to keep the plant healthy. So that's going to affect the yield on it. We're not harvesting this, but we still want a lot of pods for the deer. That's the point of growing it. So I'm going to see what nitrogen does to this. I'm actually not going to do it to one of our other fields, and I'm going to do it to this one to see, kind of compare and see what the difference is. But you can see how well the fence is working. Everything outside of it is pretty bare because of the spray and because of the deer browse. We're going to come through right now with the rain tomorrow, broadcast this with some nitrogen, and let it pop. A couple things I want to show you guys. Number one, this corn is looking really, really good. We planted it heavy, so I had to fertilize it heavy, but we just gave it the shot of nitrogen a week ago. It's really blowing up. This stuff is growing a foot a week. And you can see, look at, in the corn is bare dirt. Now this was a different blend of corn. This was a NutriCrave corn, not Roundup ready. So we sprayed a pre-emergent on here, and it did really well. You can see there's dirt. I mean, a couple little random weeds here and there that aren't doing well, but you can see we got good dirt in this field. So weed control was very good. Corn's doing awesome. And it's just funny, this is like a spot I must have missed with the sprayer. In here, got a lot of weeds coming up, and look at, let me show you something. See where all this thick grass is coming up where I missed with the sprayer, and look at the corn. It's almost half the size of our other corn where the weed control is good. So, and it's a little bit more lighter green. I mean, you can see the size difference of this and that. But it just goes to show you how important weed control is, whether you do a pre-emergent or you come through and get Roundup ready corn or beans. Anywhere that the corn and the beans is growing in weeds is significantly smaller and weaker looking than the stuff with no weed competition. And I mean, it's just case in point. I didn't hit this little corner obviously with the spray. And these couple little corn stalks, just look at how small and weak they look. And then right next to it where the weeds literally cut off, where the sprayer line was, and the stuff is literally double as tall. So it just goes to show you, again, how important that weed control is. That's why we come in here after planting and we spray. I spot sprayed. I didn't do that to this portion of the field, but I spot spray just with a backpack sprayer. Some spots I missed, and then I go through in all of our bean fields. We go through go over the whole field and spray it with Roundup. And you can see these were all weeds. I sprayed this about 10 days ago, and it killed off this field nice. But we did not spray a pre-emergent on this field. All these weeds came up, and it's dying off really good now. You can still still got some green, but you can just see that it's all. Just takes a minute for it to die, depending on how potent you do. But had to get this sprayed off for a fall blend because our beans failed in this little portion of the field. But again, weed control is super important. I recommend, if you're not going to do a pre-emergents, are hard to do. Some of them are hard to get your hands on, or you got to be licensed to get them. And so if you don't have that capability, definitely I recommend going with a Roundup ready corn or bean. Don't love the use of chemicals, but if you want to be efficient and productive, I really think you got to use it. You just got to protect yourself while you're spraying, and you're going to have that much more efficiency with your fertilizer. Everything's going to grow that much better. So you can tell. So I actually put nitrogen down on that batch of corn right there. We have a little patch right here, kind of a test patch that I did, and did not spray pre-emergent down on here. And look at all the weeds that came up. I came through a week ago and I spot sprayed the pre-emergent, post-emergent stuff on here, and now it's all died. But you can tell how big the weeds got. Didn't put any nitrogen down, and you can tell this little patch of corn, some of it's getting a little bit tall, but it's just a lighter green color as opposed to that dark green, very healthy corn. So again, weed control and nitrogen, super important if you want really nice tall corn, big producing stuff. I know a lot of this really matters for farmers. They need to get a lot of bang for their buck. They need to produce stuff. Food plots for deer are not as important, but sometimes we're perfectionists, especially me, and I like to see that big green lush corn, and I want to make it last as long into the season as possible. So your production on it is important. So again, going back, weed control, nitrogen, it all plays a part in that. So that's what we did this week, just keeping our corn and our beans growing. And now this is the point, dog days of summer, we just let it ride. Let it go, baby, and we're gonna get ready for fall food plots. Tag and Brag Nation, Food Plot Chronicles. Dino's out.
I'll tell you what, I know Dino's a stickler and a little bit of a perfectionist, but if you ask me, those food plots are looking pretty good. Corn's coming up, beans are coming up, groundhogs are eating the beans, Dad's shooting the groundhogs, Uncle Jay's stacking wood. Seems like everything's running full cylinder up there. As we head into the later part of July, we are gonna start getting ready to plant our fall food plots. You think we're nearing the end, but really we're just getting started. We'll see y'all right back here next Friday on Food Plot Chronicles. Peace.